Welcome to the Beyond You podcast, where we have real conversations about healing, trusting yourself again, and building the kind of relationships that actually feel good. I'm Samantha, and if you've ever felt like you're just going through the motions, like you're doing all the right things but still feeling disconnected, you're in the right place. Because here we go beyond the surface, beyond the hurt, beyond the patterns that keep you stuck. So take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let's get into it. Thank you so much for being here with me. And I'm so excited to just be able to talk with you. This is a new podcast episode. I'm doing it a different way. So, how to let someone in without losing your independence. And we're going to talk deep into that. And so, understand that I know this can be hard where we feel good to choose between deep connection and having independence. So, overall, welcome to the Beyond You podcast, where every week we send out love letters just to be able to be there for you. So make sure to be part of our newsletter. I'll link that down in the notes below. So I'm Samantha, and I want to be able to start by asking you something, right? Have you ever found yourself in a relationship where you looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the woman staring back at you? And I want you to really think about that because a lot of times this happens because we lose ourselves in these relationships. So maybe you stop going to your yoga class because he didn't like being alone. Or maybe you quit making plans with your girls because you wanted all your free time. And so a lot of times what happens is maybe you found yourself asking permission for things you didn't think you need permission for, and or getting permission for things you used to just do, like that weekend trip with your sister or your girls, or signing up for that art class you'd been excited about going to for a while, but then all of a sudden concerned exactly on how this person feels, how your partner feels. And so understand if that hits somewhere deep, that you are not alone. And more importantly, you understand that you are not weak or just not weak for wanting connection so badly that you tend to lose yourself along the way. You tend to lose yourself in someone else's needs and expectations. And this can feel overall exhausting when trying to do this constantly. And so today we're talking about something that so many of us struggle with, which is how to open your heart and let someone in your life without disappearing in the process or feel like you're losing your identity. Because here's what I know about overall when it comes to you, right? Understand that you've worked too hard to become who you are, to shrink back to someone else's idea of who you should be. Okay. And so we are going to go into this because understand that when someone feels like this idea of where you like who you should be, it feels like you can't be yourself anymore. So understand that you can be deeply in love and still be deeply yourself. And we feel like we have to pick and choose a lot of the times, but understand that those two things aren't opposites. They're actually requirements for the kind of love that lasts. You do not want to be able to lose yourself within these relationships. A lot of times you lose your identity. And understand this could be in any type of relationship. And so I usually like to start kind of some personal story to just see if you resonate with it or how it fits for you. Because this is kind of when I lost myself in love. And let me tell you about a time when I almost lost myself completely trying to be just the perfect girlfriend, and because I think you'll see pieces of your own story as I share this and just share just my experience or my own story here. So we'll just call him David, right? Just kind of putting just random names there. And y'all, when I tell you I was just gone for this person, not just attracted, I'm talking about just at the moment, right? It was just like this deep soul level connection that I just didn't want to let go of that made me want to build a whole life with this man. And you probably resonate with that or feel that way now. So I definitely get that. And for the first time in a long time, someone was showing up consistently. And a lot of times when you've been treated a certain way before, especially after these toxic relationships, we understand that when you get someone to doing a bare minimum, that it feels just so exciting. So this person was saying all the right things, making me feel chosen in ways I've been craving. But what I found and understand that he just what I got from it is that there was a moment where it just got messy, right? We'll just call him David. So David had very specific ideas about what a relationship should look like. He wanted to spend every evening together. He'd get quiet and distant when I made plans that didn't include him. And just as you are hearing me, please let me know in the comments if you resonate with this. Because sometimes he'd make little comments like, I thought we were building something. Right? Those like little jab comments. I thought we were building something serious. Whenever I wanted just to maintain my own space, when I wanted just to hang out with the people that I was with and maintain my own routines or friendships. And so it just would happen slightly that you sometimes didn't notice. You would think because this person wants to be around me. And at the time, and because I wanted this to work so badly, because I was terrified at the time of being seen as someone who couldn't commit or who was too, right, that too independent for love, I started adjusting. First, it was small things. It was small things. I stopped going to my Thursday night with a book club, or, then I had different classes I was taking. There's Pilates classes. Maybe when I missed book club at the time is because he wanted to cook dinner together on weeknights. Then I canceled a weekend trip at the time because well, weekend trip with my best friend because he said he'd planned something and right, and looking back on it, just happened to be the exact time that I was doing something. But he said he planned something special for us, which turned out to be, get this, it turned out to be just staying in and watching movies. But at the time, you feel like you're someone special, the person choosing to do things for you. And understand just within a few months, I realized I hadn't been into the gym in weeks. Right? I wasn't writing in my journal anymore. And then if you know me, I'm all about the journal, right? And so I just started to lose little things that made me me. I stopped listening to the podcasts I used to inspire me because he would make comments about them, right? He used to say they were just too intense, or I find myself, I was just living around his schedule, his preferences, his emotional needs. And the craziest part is that I was calling this love. I was telling myself that this is what it meant to be in a committed relationship, And so with that, to prioritize us over me. And so I felt like I just had to keep doing that constantly. But my body was telling a different story. Understand that I felt anxious all the time, like I was walking on eggshells, trying to be the girlfriend he wanted. And so what did that lead to? I just felt resentful but guilty about feeling resentful. So it just was kind of constantly this battle within me. And I just missed myself. But I was afraid that if I spoke up about needing space or wanting to do my own things, he'd see me as selfish or not relationship material. And it all came to a head when one of my close friends asked me to be her maid of honor. And I found myself asking David if it was okay. Like I felt like I was asking for permission to celebrate my own friend's birthday. I mean, my own friend's celebration, right? And because I was so used to checking in with him before making any decisions, that moment was my wake up call. And let me know if you had your own wake up call. Because I realized I'd become a shell of myself. And I'd done it willingly because I thought this is what love required. So I thought independence and intimacy were opposites that I had to choose between being myself and being loved. And Through all that, what I learned is that the right love doesn't ask you to disappear. It asks you to show up more fully as yourself. And so understand that there is the independence, there's like a independence versus intimacy myth that sometimes really goes hand in hand. 'Cause let's talk about this lie that we've been sold, okay? That you can't be independent and deeply connected at the same time. That loving someone means dissolving your boundaries, giving up your individual interests, and making your world smaller to fit into theirs. This myth hits different for women, and especially for women of color, because we get these contradictory messages. We get these messages of be strong and independent, but also don't be too independent or you'll scare men away. Have your own life, but also make sure you're available for his needs. Be ambitious, but also don't let your success threaten his masculinity. It's exhausting. We're trying to navigate all these expectations, and somewhere in the middle, we start believing that we have to choose sides. Either we're the independent women who can't commit, or we're the devoted partner who has no identity outside the relationship. But what if I told you that's a false choice? Okay. What if the healthiest relationships actually require both people to maintain their individual identities while building something beautiful together? Because I remember I had a client, let's just call her Jasmine, who said something that broke my heart. I don't know how to be in love without losing myself. And every time I try to let someone in, I end up becoming whoever they need me to be. And when I tell you, I understood exactly what she meant because that used to be my pattern too. We think that love means merging, becoming one person, which is really described a lot of the times. And I get it, where we're sharing everything, but understand that but healthy love is actually two whole people choosing to walk through life together while remaining themselves. And we're all about you being authentically you here. So the goal isn't to become half of a couple. The goal is to be um, just to be a whole person who's choosing to share your wholeness with another whole person. Hey, I want this to really resonate with you because when we really go and tap into what true independence relationships look like, I want us to get clear about what it actually means to maintain your independence while building intimacy, because I think there's some confusion about this. Independence in relationship doesn't mean be, let's even go into this. I'll try to see if I can make a list here. Being emotionally available or distant, never compromise or considering your partner's needs, keeping your lives completely separate, being selfish or only thinking about yourself, having one foot having one foot out the door, so one foot in and out. But what true independence in a relationship means is maintaining your own interests, friendship, and goals, making decisions together while still honoring your individual values, having your own emotional regulation tools instead of depending on them to manage your feelings, being able to enjoy time apart without feeling threatened or abandoned, contributing to the relationship from a place of choice, not obligation. So, let me paint you a picture of what this looks like in just real life. Understand that you can plan a weekend away with your girls without feeling guilty or having to justify why you need time with your friends. And understand that your partner supports this because they understand that you maintaining your friendships makes you happier, right? It makes you feel like you're more so being you, which allows your relationship to be stronger overall when you allow yourself to just be you. So you can have career goals that might require sacrifice or change, and instead of automatically expecting you to give up your dreams, your partner can ask something like, "How can we make this work for both of us?" You could have different political views, different spiritual practice, if this is what you choose, right? It's up to you. But if it is different, different ways of processing stress, and instead of one person having to conform to the other, you can create space for both perspectives to exist. This is if you choose to have different. I know there's some people, and especially the Christian community, that equal yoked, which I definitely understand. And definitely, if you that's what you want to do, please do that. But you can need alone time to recharge without having your partner take responsibility or taking it personally or seeing it as rejection. They understand that you taking care of your own emotional needs actually makes you more present when you're together. And this is what I call interdependence. Two independent people choosing to depend on each other in a healthy ways while maintaining their individual identities. And the beautiful thing about this kind of relationship is that you're not constantly worried about losing yourself because you never gave yourself away in the first place. Understand that you're not walking on eggshells, trying to be who they want you to be because they fell in love with just who you actually are. Okay. And so a lot of times we don't allow ourselves to do this or tap into this because there's that fear underneath that we hold on to. So now let's talk about why this feels so scary for a lot of this. It might be you that I'm talking to. Because I know some of you are thinking, this sounds good in theory, but what if they leave me if I don't make them my whole world? So the fear underneath our willingness to lose ourselves usually sounds like this. So I'll give you some just examples that you might be saying this. If I'm too independent, they'll think I don't need them. If I don't prioritize a relationship above everything else, they'll question my commitment. If I maintain my own life, they might find someone who's more available. If I have boundaries, they'll think I'm difficult or high maintenance. Do any of those resonate with you? And understand that, and for my women of color who are also listening and seeing me right now, there might be an extra layer of I already have to be strong and independent in the world. Shouldn't I get to be soft and taken care of in my relationship? And I just want to tell you, there is nothing wrong with being soft in a relationship, and know that you can be able to have both, right? And so let me speak to that just for a moment because this is so real and I understand I'm just the fears when it becomes just from that space. Because yes, you deserve to be soft. Yes, you deserve to be taken care of. Yes, you deserve to let your guard down and receive love, but none of that requires you to disappear. Softness isn't the same as smallness. Being taken care of doesn't mean becoming dependent. Receiving love doesn't mean giving up your autonomy. The right person, the person who's truly ready for what you offer, won't be threatened by your independence. They'll be attracted to it. They'll see your full life, your relationships, your friendships, your goals, your interests, and think, this is a woman who knows who she is. This is someone worth choosing and being chosen by, right? Because what we just honestly, a person who needs you to shrink to feel secure isn't actually secure enough for real love. They're looking for someone to complete them instead of someone to complement them. And you, my beautiful soul, you are not responsible for managing someone else's insecurity about your wholeness. So I know that can be quite a bit, and let's kind of get some practical tips to be able to use. All right, let's get into just the practical stuff because I know you need real strategies for maintaining your independence while building intimacy. And I want to best be able to setting this foundation early. So when you're starting to get serious with someone, have this conversation. I'm really excited about what we're building, and I want to make sure we're on the same page about something important to me. I believe healthy relationships happen between two whole people. Okay. So I'm going to continue investing in my friendships, my personal growth, and my individual interests. I I hope you'll do, excuse me, I hope you'll do the same because I'm attracted to you partly because you have your own full life. And just see what they say. So when they want all your free time, instead of just going along with it or having a big fight, try I love spending time with you, and I also need time for my friends, my hobbies, myself. It's not about you not not being enough. It's about me staying balanced so I can show up just as my best self in our relationship. So can we find a rhythm that honors our connection, both our need for connection and our individual needs? So when this, script, right? When they question your commitment. You can say something like, I understand you might be feeling insecure about my independence, but I want you to know that choosing to maintain my own identity isn't about being less committed to us. It's about, it's actually about being more committed to bring my whole self to the relationship instead of a diminished version of who I am. Right. So let's now get into, so when family and friends pressure you to prioritize their relationship, because I know this happens, right? When we especially back then, put so much focus on a relationship. It could be something like, I'm prioritizing prioritizing my relationship, and I'm also prioritizing myself. I've learned that I can't give from an empty cup. So taking care of my own needs actually makes me a better partner. When you need to take space, okay. You can say something like, I need some time to process this. You can use mention recharge, spend time with friends. This isn't about you or us, it's about me honoring what I need to stay grounded. And I'll reach maybe this evening, so wonder what time frame you want. And I appreciate you trusting my process. Right. So when I want to go out or do something, I just let my boyfriend know ahead of time. This is the day that I'll be going out, something for my friends, or this night. So it's not the surprise or anything, and just kind of plan around that. The person that cares about you will do that. And understand that now I want us to be able to talk about what to do when someone pushes back on these just kind of boundaries that you're setting. Because I know that it's not all easy, peaches and roses, that everyone just is going to agree with that. Because this is where it can get real when someone pushes back and they get defensive or angry. What I want you to do is I want you to stay calm and repeat your boundary. I understand this might be frustrating for you, but this is what I need to feel secure in our relationship. I'm hoping we can find a way to work with this rather than against it. If they try to guilt you, do not take the bait, right? Remember, guilty is if you're saying, if you are putting yourself in a category of how you're supposed to be, you do not have to do that. You can say something like, I can see you're upset, and I'm not willing to give up parts of myself to make you feel better. It's not healthy for either of us. And if they threaten to leave, and I know this is hard, but sometimes you have to call that bluff. I don't want you to leave, but I also can't be in a relationship where I have to choose between being myself and being loved. So understand that you can also mention, if my independence is a deal breaker for you, then we might not be compatible. And listen, some people will leave when you start maintaining your boundaries. It's just what it is. It doesn't mean that you should change it. Because some people are only interested in the version of you that makes their life easier, not the version of you that has needs and preferences and a whole inner world outside of them. And though this can be rough and challenging to even deal with. And that's painful, but it's also information for you. Better to find out early that someone can't handle your wholeness than to spend years shrinking yourself for someone who is never going to appreciate the real you anyway. And so, with that, understand that you can create your non negotiable list, because sometimes we need just overall practical work to be able to help us to kind of navigate this. So I want you to think about your non-negotiables when it comes to maintaining your independence in a relationship. What are the parts of your life that you're not willing to give up for anyone? And I'll give you some examples here. Maybe it's your weekly call with your best friend, or it's your Sunday morning yoga class, or church, whatever you choose to do in the morning. Your annual girls trip, your career ambitions, your alone time to read and journal, your volunteer work or activism, your spiritual practices, your creative outlets. But I want you to write these down now. So if you need to pause me and write these down and just take some minutes to do that, please feel free. Because when you're in a honeymoon phase of a new relationship, it is easy to forget what matters to you when someone else's needs feel urgent and immediate. These aren't selfish requirements, they're the things that make you who you are. And that's what you bring to the relationship. So understand that when you give them up, you're not just sacrificing activities, you're sacrificing pieces of your identity as well. And here's something that I really want you to remember through all this: the right person won't ask you to choose between them and the things that light you up. They'll want you to keep doing the things that make you happy because they want you to be happy. So understand if someone is threatened by your joy, your growth, your friendships, your goals, that's not love, that's insecurity masking as love. So when it comes to just the overall the beauty of interdependence, I want to leave you with a vision of what's possible when you get this balance right, because it's so much more beautiful than the either or choice we've been told you have to make. When you maintain your independence while building intimacy, you get to bring your whole self to love. You get to share your excitement, about your work, your insights, your time with friends, your growth, your personal practices. You become more interesting to each other, not less, because you're both just continuing to evolve as individuals, which says quite a bit. When you're willing to evolve together instead of competing with them, you get to have your own emotional regulation tools so you're not constantly asking your partner to fix your feelings. You get to choose each other every day from a place of want, not from a place of need. So understand this makes a huge difference when it comes to this. And understand this is what mature love looks like. Two people who are whole on your own, choosing to build something beautiful together without losing themselves in the process. And I want that for you, right? And so understand that I really want you to hear this. You don't have to choose between being loved and being yourself. Anyone who makes you feel like you do, you, like just who you are, isn't offering. Just being who you are isn't like making you feel like they accept you and who you are. Your independence isn't something to apologize for or tone down. It's one of your greatest strengths when you're authentically just being yourself. It's what makes you interesting, what makes you resilient, makes you capable of loving someone from a place of choice rather than desperation. And understand the love that's meant for you will celebrate your wholeness, not ask you to diminish it. So before I go, I want you to ask yourself, what would change if I truly believe that the right person would love me more for being fully myself, not less. Okay. Make sure to share this with someone who needs it. Make sure to follow and press like so I know you want more of these episodes and more to kind of see me on camera. But I want for you to be loved by who you are, not the roles that you play. So please share with someone who needs it to remember their own wholeness, to remember you can be deeply in love and deeply yourself. Those aren't opposites, they're just requirements in just any relationship. So understand that I love you. I see your beautiful independence, and I will talk to you next week. Talk to you soon.